What's up, everybody? It's your boy Season. So today we're actually going to be taking a look at one of the first metal builds that I ever bought. This was way back in 2013, and with the new Gundam Seed Freedom trailer that just came out, I think it's the 5th one. This will probably be the last one before the movie comes out, I suspect. I wanted to take a look at this Destiny Gundam. This one is an amazing metal build, so we're not going to waste any more time, so let's go. All right, so let's take a look at the box. Now, as far as the Metal Build Destiny Gundam releases, this one actually came out, this is actually the first release. This actually came out in 2013. Then after that, you had the Heine version, which is a orange version of this, pretty much the exact same. It's just a different color scheme. So you have that one. That one came out in 2016, if I'm not mistaken. And then we had the full package, which was this one, but it had different decals on it. So that was pretty much the only main difference. And it had the Wings of Light. It actually came with the Wings of Light set, which is an option set for this guy. And then in 2021, we had the Soul Red version of this. That also came with the Wings of Light as well. So you have multiple different variations of this original design, but this original design is really, really good. So of course you got the front there, you've got the side there, you've got the back, okay, and then you've got the other side, and then you've got the top. It's funny, I still have the sticker from Monrake, which is where I bought this from. I actually bought this back in like 2013, 2014, somewhere around there. And so I got this from Monrake, which is kind of funny. And then you've got the bottom there. So that's what you've got for the box art. Now let's see what comes inside. So let's take a look at the manual real quick. So, the interesting thing about the Destiny Gundam is that, for me, in my humble opinion, this was kind of the metal build that put the metal build line on the map. This was the first one, even though it wasn't the first release. I think this was actually like the 5th release of the metal build line. This was the one that was very hard to get your hands on when it first came out. It looks great. And so looks like what do we got here with the manual. So pretty much just going through the weapons, going through the stand. It's pretty simple, not a lot to it, right? So it looks pretty self-explanatory. But yeah, so anyways, yeah, it's just pretty interesting how this actually came about, because this was the first metal build design that I remember. Now, I didn't get the original metal build releases before this, because they had I think the first one was the 00 Riser, and then you had like the Freedom 1.0, which I really did not like that one. So I wasn't very impressed with the metal build line. But then when this one came out, this one just looked so much better than the original line art. Even the master grades that it came out at that time, this blew it away, because this was the first metal build that I know for a fact. I can't speak to the earlier ones because I don't own them, but this was the first one that I remember that actually did a redesign of the original design, and it made it look meaner. It just made it look better all the way around. So that's what we've got for the manual. So let's take a look and see what the kind of accessories we got. So next, we're going to take a look at his accessories. So first off, he's got his beam rifle here, if I can get that to focus. So you've got that. This will move left and right, just like that. Okay, this one does not extend. All right, but pretty good looking there. Now you've got his shield. Now, in a current, because you have to remember that this release is over 10 years old. And this normally, I think today would be made to slide, where you could slide this open. This is the Destiny's physical shield, but with this one, you actually have to take it off. So you actually have to take it off, and then you actually would match this up here. So this would go up like that, and then you would take this one off as well, and then move that down to to where I think now if that was done in 2023 that they would slide. I don't know about any of the other iterations of the Metal Build Destiny because I didn't buy any of those, but for this original one you have to take those off and put those on instead of sliding them. So you've got that. You've also got, now you've got his beam boomerang. This goes on his shoulder, and you can use this, and you can take these parts here and put that in there just like that. All right, actually I didn't put that in there well. So all right, there you go. So we got it in there like that. So you can do that. That's the short version. This is the long version, and you can do that. So you got the long and the short ones there. Okay, then you actually have his beam shield. This goes on the outside of his hand, and as you can see, you can just kind of put that on there. But with this one, I think in other iterations of the Metal Build Destiny, they actually did a little bit more detail work here. Even though that's not bad, as you see, it still looks pretty good. But I think they actually put like some silver paint in here and kind of gave it a little bit more detail in some of the other releases of the Metal Build Destiny. But this is what you've got for those. So you got 2 of those. You also have the long range beam rifle. So of course that extends out like that, and then you can actually take this part here and he would grab onto that there, just like that. But it's pretty long, so you know, you got that. So that folds up, that goes on his back, and then you've got his beam sword, right? Just like this, and that's another one that's extremely long. All right, and this is kind of like an anti-ship sword, I think, if I remember correctly. So you just take that, and then you would actually take the beam effect here, and then you would put it in here just like this, if I can get it in there. Now this is actually, I haven't had taken these out, these effect parts, but on mine it's actually going a little bit more orange than pink. And I think maybe that's just because of the time, because I've had this for like almost 10 years at this point. And if you look, I don't know if it'll show up on camera, but if you look, let's see if I can get that to focus. If you look, it's way more pink up here, and then it kind of goes orange here. It's still pink, but I can tell maybe that has something to do with just because of how old this actual release is. But, you know, it still holds up, so it's still pink. I think like in some of the other iterations, I think this is a little bit darker than this one. But that's what you've got for those. So since this release is almost 10 years old now, you know, if you're getting this original release, you're probably going to run into that problem. But yeah, so there's the sword there. So that's what you have for his accessories. And now he's got actually, he has 5 sets of hands, if I'm not mistaken. So of course he's got these 2 here, if I can get those to focus, right? And so you got a lot of good detail work here, very edgy, right? It's got a lot of sharp edges on here. So you've got those, you've got these here. These are probably for his beam rifle. Okay, so you got those, and then you got these. This is probably for the handle on the long range beam rifle. Okay, so you got those. He's got the closed fist, of course. If I can get that to focus, there we go. You got the closed fist there, and then you've got the open hands here. So you've got that, and then like for to put on the beam ones, you would just kind of put this on here, and then you just kind of put that on there like that, and you would have that. So that's how you actually put that on. So, but you've got that. So that's what you've got for the hands. Now for his wings, if I grab him and take a look. Now, if you look at the back here, if you look at his wings, I hope the camera can pick that up, but it's very like purplish. They have like a two-tone color on here. That was one of the things that I liked the most about this redesign, is they did a lot with his different things with the kind of color here. And so you've also got his wing extension that can go all the way out. Now for this one, because since this is the first release, I would have expected the joints to actually be kind of weak, but to be honest, they're actually still quite strong. even though this one is over 10 years old. So they have held up, but if you are going to try to get the original release, just be cognizant of that, because these things do get loose over time, right? So, but that's what you've got for his wings. Oh, as something came off there. Oh, it's just his shoulder part here. Let me put that back on there. And then we can actually put the other one on here as well. But yeah, he still holds up even though he's 10 years old. I'm actually quite surprised. He's just been on display for probably about 4 years. And, you know, but he's holding up just fine. So that's what you've got there. So now we'll actually get into the articulation of the Metal Build Destiny. So let's get into that. Next, we're going to take a look at his articulation. So he has really good articulation, especially considering this came out 10 years ago. All right. So first things first, let's take a look at his head. So his head, he's got a really good design in here. It looks almost like tears in there. I don't know if you can see that. See if we get there. Yeah, so it looks really good as far as the detail in there. So you've got that. So of course he can look up, he can look down. All right, he can go what like that. So, and also what helps that is this part on the back here, this kind of like neck part. This can actually rock back and forth, as you see how that's moving there, and that really helps with his neck and head articulation, even though he's got really good already, but that will kind of help with that as well. So he's got that. He can actually do 360. You just have to clear that neck part there, and there we go. So he can do it. I don't know if I would recommend doing it. I don't want to scratch this up, but yeah, so he's got that there. So for that, and then for the neck, it does move up and looks back and forth like that. So you've got that there. Now for his shoulders, if we look at his shoulders here, he's got this little part here, and then what this will do, this will actually come out. So that comes out just like that, and then it can also go back just like that. So you see how far that goes back. So you've got that, and then for his shoulder, you can actually raise that quite a bit, just like that. He's actually pushing his head out of the way. So he's got that up really good. So that's actually really good. Also, you've got this front part here, and what this will do, this will give you clearance. So when you have those sword poses where you move those in, that will actually help out with that quite a bit and get that out of the way, so you can actually do that. So that's actually really good there. Now for the beam boomerangs, those do actually move up and down as well. So you can keep them down if you want, or you can have them up. Okay. And then for the bicep, you can spin it. Okay. So this thing is it's really, really tight. And I'm actually impressed by that considering how old this is. But it does spin. I wouldn't say it goes 360. It looks like there is a part here that'll stop it, but you can get pretty far back that way. So you can do that. Now he's got a really good elbow bend as well. So for his elbow, all right, you can actually move that up quite a bit, just like that. So that is actually really, really good. So he's got that. It also will move at the tricep as well, right here. This will spin. Now the gauntlets or whatever will kind of get in the way of this, but it does, you can actually spin it. So as you see how that's spinning there, and you can kind of do that all the way around, as long as you can clear that part, right? So it goes all the way like that, and then you can kind of, let's move that all the way back. So pretty good right there. So you've got that. Now for his wrist articulation, he's actually got quite a bit there because he's got it on that little hinge there. So I can move up and down just like that. So that's really good as well. So really good wrist articulation as well. So I have really no complaints as far as his articulation goes. And so you've got that. Now let's get to the midsection. So with the midsection, this is interesting because the one part of this metal build that I don't like all that much is his side skirts. His side skirts are just overly big. They were never that big in the show. They're not that big in the line art or anything, but for whatever reason, they made it extremely big here. and I really don't know why. You could have got away with that being about half of that size, because actually if you look at this is actually going down past his knee. So these are extremely long, and they go all the way up, right up under his chest part here. So, you know, unfortunately that will limit that, but even still with that, he can go down quite a bit. So he's got a lot of articulation there. So he can go there, he can go all the way up, just like that. So he's got really good stomach articulation here. And then you can actually move, these actually do move, or you can just take them off, but they do move. So that'll kind of give you some of that clearance there. So you can go side to side, just like that. So he can go all the way down. So that actually is really good for the midsection as well. But you've got those there. Now, for the front skirts, he actually has an interesting part with this, because this is actually split into two here. So what you have here is this will actually move out, okay? And then it will actually move in just like that. And so that'll move out and in, and then this is going to actually move that up. So when you actually move his leg up, he can actually clear that with ease. So that's more than a 90-degree bend there. So he's got that, and then he's also got the knee bend, which is really good there. So he's got that. So that's really good there. I really like that. So he's got really good articulation in the knees and the leg. And then for the back of his calf, he's actually got some thrusters. So these will actually come out. Okay, so those will actually come out there and there. So you can have those out if you like. Also got a lot of good detail work in here. So, and I'm very amazed that this thing is still holding up after all these years of me owning it. Even though I really do take care of my figures, I don't mess with them all that much. So, but it is still tight considering, that this thing is over 10 years old. So you've got that. Now for his ankle, he's actually got quite a bit here. So let's see if I can get a good shot of this. So for this, he's got this here. So what he's got is he's got really good ankles, because there's not a lot of armor around this ankle part. So that'll actually help with his articulation. So of course his foot will go all the way up like that. And then it can go down, but that's more his ankle in here than his actual foot, right? So he's got that there. So he got that, and then he can actually go from side to side if you can rock that, just like that. So you've got quite a bit of stuff going on there, but really good articulation in the feet. Now, this one actually does not have, like on some of the strike ones, you actually have an extension where you can pull this out, and this will actually extend to make the feet longer, because that's actually one of the critiques that I have of the metal build line, is that especially like with some of the mobile suits, whether it's the strike or the crossbone, they tend to have really smaller, like short feet. And so with these, you don't actually really need it, even though I would still like these to be a tad bit longer, maybe out to here or so, just to give them a little bit more stability. But even without that extension part that the strike and the crossbone has, he actually still stands up relatively well. So he's got really good articulation. So kudos to Bandai for that. So that's what you've got for articulation for the Destiny. Now let's grab his wings out and let's take a look at that real quick. So with this, you also can swing this long range beam rifle over. So what you can do is this would actually just go down. It's easier to show you with it off of him, but you can actually swing this down, and then you can actually pull this out just like that. And then that's what you've got. So, and he can actually have this handle out, and I don't have the right hands on him, but you can put the right hands on him and he can actually grab that. And so that will actually go down just like that. So you can have it down, or you can have it up. You can have it any way that you really want. So really good articulation for that as well for the backpack. And then for the wings, of course, we've seen kind of like the extension part on that. So that's the extension point there. That's actually on that hinge that comes in and out. So that can go in, and then that can go out. And then you can also move these forwards, and you can move these backwards. Of course, you're going to run into hitting this part, but then you would have it down. So you can have it kind of any way that you want as far as the wings are concerned. So those can actually fold back, and then really they're just limited by the holders here and here. So but other than that, really good articulation on the wings. So actually we can put those back on, and we'll put this back on him real quick. All right, there we go. So got those back on him. Let's get him looking nice. He's kind of all over the place right now. But yeah, so that's what you've got for articulation. Really good, really solid. I'm very impressed considering how old this guy is. That he still, most of his joints are still pretty tight. So I do like that. So that's what you have for articulation. Okay, so next, for the next segment, I actually was going to do a little bit of posing and kind of show you what he can do, but I actually had an issue that came up, and it came up with his hand. So let's take a look here at what happened, because I do like to be transparent in my reviews. But as you can see, like, his beam emitter thing on his hand is not there. And the reason why is because when I was messing with him off camera, this little peg here, let's see if I can get that to focus. There we go. This little peg here snapped. And actually it stayed in the hand. And so for me, what I had to do is I had to pull that out, and then I had to take some Tamiya cement. Since I am a former model builder, it's pretty easy for me to fix these kind of little things. But all I did is take this extra thin cement here and then kind of have to reset this and then let it dry. So it's been drying for probably about 2 hours or so. So what I'm gonna do is I'm probably gonna put this on his hand, and then I'm probably never gonna touch it again, and just kind of let that cure. But yeah, unfortunately that whole piece is just there with that one peg. And so of course, if you put too much pressure on it, that will snap. So I just want you guys to be cognizant of that. So this is the hands that I normally have on him. So what we're gonna do is I'm actually gonna just place this on there, and hopefully that will stay put. But we're gonna just put that in there like that, and then I'm just gonna leave it just like that. So I'm actually probably never gonna touch that again. Now the thing about this is I actually do have the Mosho model version of this, so I guess I could, if I did have a problem with that, I could just take the gauntlet ones off of that and do that. But yeah, so that's what we've got. So unfortunately, I'm gonna probably skip the posing section, and we're just gonna go to final thoughts. So let's get into that. So final thoughts on this guy. With this metal build, I would say it's almost perfect. It literally is. I would give this out of 10 a 9.9. You said, well, why not a 10? Well, there is a glaring problem, and it was a glaring problem that I actually forgot about, and I actually ended up noticing it off camera. In the previous segment, when I was talking about the piece in the hand that broke off, I actually figured out why. And the reason why is because the peg on the hand is relatively short. And even when it's not holding anything, or it's just holding the beam rifle, it's actually not that noticeable. But when you start putting heavy weapons on it, mainly the anti-ship sword, that has a significant amount of weight. And so what happens is that peg is extremely short. And so what you want to do is kind of put the hand on the peg, and it ended up breaking on both hands. So that's what I've noticed about that. And I think that that is a flaw, because the way that the hand is built, it just has a really short peg on it. And so when you try to kind of force that down, you're putting pressure on the gauntlet, which is in order to grip it. And so what happened was I ended up breaking both pegs on both hands doing that. And so that's kind of unfortunate for me. But I think if that peg was a little bit longer in the hand, you probably would not have that issue. But that literally is the only issue that I have with this metal build. It is almost perfect except for that. Color scheme is great. The design is great. The articulation is great. Even though this one is 10 years old, this still holds up outside of the part with the hand. And since, I am a model builder, I can, fix that relatively with relative ease. So it's not really that big of a deal. Now, my recommendation, if you are looking to get the metal build Destiny, is do not actually try to get this first version. just because it's so old. This is 10 years old. I wouldn't even go for the 2016 version, which is the full package. I wouldn't even go for that version, just because I think, because usually with every release, Bandai usually does little modifications to the build. So with this one, I think that what I would probably do is go for the Soul Red. I think that the Soul Red, now the Soul Red's finish is different from this finish. This version and the full package version and even the High-Ne version, those are all more of a gloss finish, to where the Soul Red version is more of a matte finish, kind of like the Strike Freedom Soul Blue. And so they went more for a matte version of the color scheme. And actually, I kind of like that one better than this one. And I was actually looking into buying that one, but that one is still relatively expensive on the second hand market. I may end up getting it later, but if I was trying to pick up a Metal Build Destiny in 2023, I would definitely go for the Soul Red version. It's newer. I think it's less than 2 years old. And I'm sure that maybe some of the problems that came with the Destiny in this first edition was probably corrected in that edition. So that's what I would recommend. But outside of that, this is a 9.9 out of 10. You could say it's almost perfect. Outside of the hands, that's the only problem that I had with this guy. So that's what we've got for you today. So thank you guys for watching the video, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.